convey on behalf of my colleagues from the African, Caribbean, and Pacific Parliamentary Union our deepest gratitude to you, Your Excellency, for the discipline, determination, resolve, and boldness that you have shown on the African continent, which has empowered us as your parliamentarians so as to defend and preserve the culture, the family, the values in the African context. Your Excellency, you have been a very good example in terms of arming your parliamentarian soldiers. 3 years ago, we were here launching our first conference, and when we brought to your attention, you fired us up to go and defend our values, our sovereignty. We are very proud of you, of what you stand for, of what you believe in. And because of your stand, we strongly believe Africa shall prevail. And so, as we continue on this path, Your Excellency, we still look up to you as a leader on the African continent to mobilize as many as you possibly can, your fellow excellencies, to make sure we stand firm, unwavering, without ambiguity, to defend the African continent, family, values, and culture. Your Excellency, you will excuse me for having to digress as I have done, but I had to put it on record to express our admiration and our gratitude unto you. Your Excellency, it was in 2021 when the Africa Bar Association raises an alarm on the then post-Cotonou agreement and its emerging emphasis on new forms of human rights. As we all know, human rights is the purview of the Human Rights Council under the United Nations. And so the provisions of excessive human rights were introduced in the draft text of the post-Cotonou agreement. Indeed, the African Bar Association was able to pick it up. And in 2022, the African Bar Association made it a point to discuss the post-Cotonou agreement as a key component during their annual conference in that year. And further to that, during the conference, a high level that had visited Malawi made a point to have an audience with your counterpart, Your Excellency, His Excellency Dr. Lazarus McCarthy Chakwera, in his capacity then as head of the African Union, to present some of these offending issues that were appearing in the draft text of the post-Cotonou agreement. The battle against the offending text, the text that was introducing some of the aspects which the speaker just spoke before me talked about: sexual rights, reproductive health, comprehensive sexuality education, sexual orientation, gender identity, all alien offending text became the center stage of the battle that your parliamentarians took to Strasbourg in France, took to Brussels in Belgium, took to Maputo in Mozambique. And I remember at one point in Strasbourg, the former member of parliament from the Gambia, Honorable Salah, I admire him so much. He spoke so strongly to defend the African culture. But Your Excellency, talk, it is what it is. Without mere action, it remains to be cheap. So it was again in 2022 during a family conference in Arizona in the United States that a couple of your parliamentarians from the African continent sat together and said, we can't continue just watching and complaining. We need to bring this issue to the African continent, bring together all parliamentarians who stand for values to start delving deeper into the offending text that is available in the post-Cotonou agreement. And so we agreed that indeed the Uganda and Museveni would be the good port to call to request him to host us. And we are so grateful, graciously you accepted. And we owe so much unto you and to the First Lady, and of course, my colleague Honorable Sala Opendi, and of course, the Right Honorable Speaker of the National Assembly of Uganda, that you provided the necessary requirement, conducive environment that is now becoming the annual undertaking on the African continent. So the first conference took place in 2023. And we did tackle on the emerging issues, which led to the drafting of the Entebbe Declaration, which will be made available to you, honorable colleagues, later on this afternoon. In 2024, Your Excellency, it became clear that the family sovereignty and values require an entire African-wide law. And this is what has brought us here today, that we should review the charter that is now in draft form, which Your Excellency, your parliamentarians have worked so hard together with the experts to make sure we have got a living document that can start becoming enforceable once it has been approved and ratified by you, our excellencies. So, Your Excellency, I hope that as we'll be living here on Sunday or Monday, we will have owned this particular charter and we will have energized our movement to defend the African continent. But Your Excellency, as I say, the talk is cheap. And I want to wind up by stating, unless and until a lion starts writing, every story will glorify the hunter. That era, Your Excellency, must come to an end. As a continent, we should start writing our story, telling our story, defending our story. Our story is in the culture, is in the family, is in the religion, and it's in the values and the sovereignty that we so strongly believe in, Your Excellency. My appeal now, let's write the African story. I thank you, Your Excellency.